In a world where medical emergencies have the potential to bankrupt you, health insurance is not a luxury. It isn't even negotiable. For most people, it is something to acquire even before investments are made. In fact, advisors that I've spoken to have gone so far as to say that when you're starting out, even if you're not investing, you should buy health insurance. The thing is, health insurance is getting costlier. Some of you may have experienced it already. And it is, unfortunately, a space that is very opaque. Buyers of health insurance have experienced claim rejections for vague reasons, or at the very least, they've seen delays in settlement. On the other end, insurers say that individuals hide information and make wrongful claims. How should you navigate this tangled web? This is Moneywise on NDTV Profit, and I'm Alex Mathew. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about everything to do with health insurance. Joining me on today's episode is Aditya Shah and Nikhil Jha of Hercules Insurance Advisors. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking the time.
Thank you.
Before we get into some of the more standard aspects of health insurance, before we dive into it, let's talk about the news angle first, right? Which is that there is a lot of anecdotal evidence, there's a lot of noise on social media of increase in premiums. People are reporting 25, 30, 40, 50% increase in premiums. And there are some people that are saying, look, this is not true, it's only for some pockets. What is the case? What's the real picture here?
So I'll take it up, Alex.
Yeah.
So we've got listed companies within the health insurance space. We've got Star Health, we've got Niva Bupa, we've got ICICI Lombard. There is a case that senior citizens at least are experiencing premium increases of upwards of 20%, and some are experiencing up to 100% as well. And that's the stark reality of it. If we go across social media, we find people complaining about sharp increases in premium. We've got Star Health on record saying that for 65% of their products, they have taken a premium increase this year as well as last year. So premium increases are stark reality of it, as much as IRDAI, the regulator, the insurance regulator, has come out with a regulation stating that for senior citizens, the premium increase of 10% can be freely taken by the insurer, but above 10%, they will have to consult IRDAI before increasing the premiums per se. So premium increase is a stark reality of it, and there is an irrational increase in premium across all spectrums, and the government and the insurers need to get together to find a solution to this, because increasingly for senior citizens, people who need it the most, the premiums are becoming unaffordable, and that's the stark reality of the insurance industry today.
Okay. One of the things that I've heard said is that in COVID-19, there was an intervention by the authorities to say don't increase the premiums too much on a health insurance. And so there is a sort of a lag effect or a delay in increase in premiums that is being carried out over the course of the last couple of years. Is that true?
No.
Nikhil?
No, basically it is not true wala thing. So the thing is that in recent times, after COVID-19, the claims has been surged, a high number of claims has been surged recently. So, but right now, health insurance industry is in stable position. The claims are not surged drastically, though the number of insurance buyers has been increased after COVID. The thing is that over here, the insurance claims has been increased because of the buying capacity, or the awareness has been created to normal peoples as well. So it is not has been drastically increased, but yes, before COVID-19, the premiums was increased in multiple of 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
As per age or as per inflation. But whereas after COVID-19, the premium has been increased drastically within a year as well as in within 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
So this inflation has been created too many bumps over here. So it is now basically not a thing where it has been rationalized. It has been increased drastically from one year to next year and so on.
Okay. So what you're saying is that previously in 2019, for example, it was increased after a period of 4 years.
Right.
Whereas post-COVID now, the last couple of years, every 2 years, you're seeing a massive increase, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You're saying, what is the kind of But if you were to put it in perspective in percentage terms, I know you mentioned 25, 30%, even 100% for senior citizens. But across the board, Aditya, how do you quantify this?
Since I follow the stock market as well, let me take up Star Health, the largest retail health insurer. Most people listening to our show would have Star Health policies because it's the largest insurer. Star Health has increased premium last year as well, this year as well. This is on top of the age increase premium that people get. So across the board, across Star policies, most Star policies like Star Comprehensive, Star Assure, which most people really have, they are experiencing a premium rise of 20 to 65% for senior citizens. Mind you, 2 senior citizens of age 65 staying in Bombay with a 10 lakh policy will have a premium somewhere close to between 70,000 to 1 lakh, and they are experiencing a premium rise on top of this.
Which is why you're saying it's unaffordable.
It's slowly and steadily becoming unaffordable. The government and the insurer and the hospital industry should come in together and provide a solution, because genuinely people who require it, the senior citizens, it is becoming unaffordable.
Now, let's circle back to some measures that have been announced. Of course, what was announced during the budget, there is the attempt is there. What exists right now in terms of provision of health insurance cover for senior citizens? There is some stuff, as you pointed out, that the regulators also come and said.
Yes. So the regulator, since social media was buzzing with these premium increases, the government has taken notice of this, and IRDAI has come out with a regulation stating for senior citizen, meaning aged above 60, there's a rule that insurers cannot increase the premium every year by more than 10%. If they do increase by more than 10%, they have to ask the regulator for permission. The regulator will study their application, and then they may accept or reject the increase in premium. So that is point number one that the government is taking forward. Point number two is Ayushman Bharat has been introduced by the government, where super senior citizens above 70 years get an automatic cover. While the quality of the cover is slowly improving, but that is a step towards universal health cover for senior citizens who mostly require it per se.
How do you get that?
So that is available for everybody. You have to go to the website and register yourself. Once you register yourself, there's something known as Ayushman Bharat card, Abha card. That gets developed, and those hospitals who are eligible, there you can go and show the card. The list of hospitals enrolled is available on the Ayushman Bharat website.
And what is the cover that you have?
That's 5 lakh cover, and for poor people it is topped up by 5 lakhs.
So we've kind of gotten a sense of what is provided right now, but let's get into some other aspects, right? Which is that I've heard so many stories of, particularly when it comes to a settlement post, not cashless, right? The option is to get a reimbursement later. When there is reimbursement involved, invariably there is some delay or the other in the settlement. And why is that? Because, and there's quite a lot of angst, there's quite a lot of anger when you say that insurance companies, and this is a complaint, are not playing fair. What are the instances that you've come across, and why does this happen?
Before Nikhil answers this, I want to bring up a post from Anupam Gupta that he posted for a reimbursement claim, and there were private investigators sent to his place.
I have experienced this.
And that's really harassing for people, but Nikhil will answer.
So in reimbursement cases now, there are too many fraud wala chance will be there. In cashless, there is nothing like that.
Because the hospital is
already a tie-up will be there between insurance company and the hospital. Whereas in reimbursement, the fraud case comes to the picture. So in some cases, companies hire a third-party investigator.
Only in some cases, in all cases?
In some cases. In some cases where the claim value is not too much high. Or in where the claim value is less than 1 lakh. Probability on that case, investigator comes to the picture.
Or where the insurer suspects.
Or where the misrepresentation or the vitals are not adequate, right? So on that scenario, companies ask a third-party investigator to verify.
Who are these third-party?
Third-party, there will be many other things like Medibuddy is one of them, and there are many.
So these are small companies who would do this for some money.
And they are not professionals. They are not professionals. They doesn't know how to deal with them. They sometimes ask you to take a picture out of it, show your Google Maps location and all that stuff. So they do a CID wala thing onto you when you go for the reimbursement.
I've gotten, in my own case, I've gotten a situation where I had a medical condition which had to do with food poisoning, but it was the liver. And the questionnaire that I was asked to fill, you won't believe, was how much alcohol do you consume in a day? Is it 1 glass, 2 glass, 3 glasses? There was no option for do you consume alcohol weekly? It was how much do you consume in a day?
Yeah.
And this guy came with a questionnaire to my office.
Yeah.
And I obviously had the wherewithal to call and say, hey, what do you mean by this? But not everyone can do that.
Right.
So as we posted out this, it is a little bit on the harassment side.
Yes.
But what is happening is in reimbursement claims, see in cashless claims, the hospital and the insurer have already decided what is the cost of treatment. In reimbursement claims, that is not the case. So the insurer suspects that there is some kind of fraud going on, or the charges by the hospital are not correct. So they then tend to hire investigative agencies, and those investigative agencies are really harassing people per se. So it's a cycle where fraud is the genesis of it.
Okay.
Right? So a solution to this is cashless everywhere has come about.
Sure.
Where what the government is saying is you will only do cashless settlement, you will not do reimbursement.
Right.
So every hospital in India will be covered under cashless.
But that's not effective
that is
yet.
Not effective. That will take 5 to 7 years down the line, 10 years down the line. But that is where the solution really lies.
So the way that I see it is that there is an ongoing argument between two parties. Each party has their point of view, and there is no middle ground right now. That seems to be the case, isn't it?
Exactly.
So, and both have valid points.
Yes.
From the customer's perspective, they've made a valid claim. They're being harassed.
Yes.
They paid the premium on time. Everything is fine. They've made disclosures adequately in their opinion. And the insurance company is not being fair. From the insurance company's perspective, there are 3 bad apples.
Right.
Yeah.
As a result of which?
Not gone for the cashless one. Second, they have gone for the hospital where beds were not adequate one, where the condition has not met. Third point of view over here, where the claims are low now. On that scenario, many companies, what they do, they charge reasonability and customary charges.
What is that?
So that is mean by reasonability and customary means, let's take an example, we are in Mumbai. Okay, we are in Bandra. Let's take an example, we are in Bandra. So for a Bandra, dengue treatment will cost 1 lakh rupees. That is a standard rule.
Right.
That is a standard rule which is imposed by all of the insurance company.
Okay.
But when you go for the reimbursement one, the hospital will charge you 1,50,000. So length of stay, the cost of treatment, doctor visit charge, everything is predefined. But when you go for the reimbursement one, they will charge unnecessary things to you.
Right.
Right. So on that scenario, company will harass you. So in order to get this done, in order to get full amount settled done, so you have to raise then grievance, then ombudsman, then only you will get the claim.
And how easy is that?
So it
That's
is not
very
easy.
tough. It takes about 6 to 12 months to do all
The ombudsman in any situation. I've heard this, right? Because there have been instances where there are supposed to be ombudsmen, but they're not there. They're not appointed.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
It's not okay. So we'll get to that because even in cashless, there are situations where there is copay involved. There are certain rules about which room you can go to, various other aspects, right? And we'll also talk about how you can potentially bring your cost down. But we've spoken about one aspect of insurance companies saying, not necessarily playing by the book.
Yes.
Are there other instances where this can come about? Have you come across other situations?
Other situations as in?
As in, apart from a reimbursement claim being stretched out or being rejected for a vague reason, is there more that you've come across?
So insurers do. It's if I may put it very straightforward, it is a very toxic kind of an industry where insurers are trying to find reasons to reject claims.
That's the point that
For
I'm
example,
making,
a dengue claim can be rejected saying that there is no need for hospitalization. Ideally, insurance companies, doctors are not eligible to decide who needs hospitalization and who needs. This is the argument of a treating doctor. His call as per he deems fit. He should be allowed to decide where to do hospitalization or not. As Nikhil will elaborate, that it is people's job to also give information to the insurer at the time of buying the policies correctly. One of the major reasons, 90% of the claims, we've done this study, we find that 90% of the claims are being rejected due to non-disclosure of diseases that existed during the time of buying the policy.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I think to a certain extent we've covered from the insurance company's perspective the reasons why they would reject a claim, but we need to delve a little more into what the individual needs to do, because ultimately, like you said, even the solution for the first problem, which is reimbursement, is to not get into that situation in the first place as far as possible. And that's not always possible. In certain cases, it's an emergency and you have to go to the nearest hospital. But where possible, try to go for cashless. So that's the first point. But in the second point, which is the mistakes that people make and maybe not reading the fine print, do you have a checklist of things that people should do and should not do?
Yeah. So there are total 10 things to be considered while buying a health insurance policy. So we have made a proper fine print of checklist that we should follow.
Right.
First one will be no room rent restrictions.
Okay.
So while hospitalization, there should be no room rent restrictions for you.
Okay.
Because sometimes if some policies are having single private room ka category available.
Yeah.
But most of the time single private rooms are not available.
Right.
Because for certain reasons, everybody use single private room.
Right.
So in your policy, there should nothing like that. You can claim only single private room or deluxe, something like that. You can claim any room you want.
Right.
Okay, that is the first thing. Second, there should no co-payment between the policy.
There shouldn't be a co-payment.
No
right.
co-payment. So in most of the comprehensive policy, whatever the checklist I prepare, in most of the comprehensive policy that I will disclose about the names of the products, it is there. All the checklist, it is there. So second one is no co-payment. What is no co-payment?
But why are you saying no? So, and co-payment, of course, is where you say that 70% of the cost of the hospitalization will be borne by the insurance company.
And 30% you have to pay.
And that's pretty normal. In fact, a lot of people go for this because it dramatically reduces the premium.
Right.
So why are you saying no co-payment?
So the reason why I don't want you to get into the co-payment wala partner, when you choose a co-payment, when your bill is below 10 lakhs, it will cost you peanuts. 2-3 लाख रुपए ही आपको अपने जेब से पे करना है, right?
Relatively speaking, yeah.
So, but when the bill comes more than 25-30 lakhs or something like that, so it will cost you near about 1 or 2 months or 6 months of your entire savings amount.
Right.
So for that reason, I never want anybody to go with co-payment wala part, because in longer run it will create a huge bump to you. Right. In cases like cancer or dialysis, where the course of treatment is on regular basis, in every multiple of 5-10 years, 5 or 10 days, you have to visit to hospital, right? So on that cases, it will create a huge bump on your savings.
So ideal is to not have co-payment.
Right.
What's point number 3?
Point number 3 is sublimits. So what is meant by sublimits? Sublimits means on various diseases, companies impose restrictions.
Sure.
For particular kidney stone, you can claim more than not more than 30,000.
Okay.
For cataract surgery, you cannot claim more than 50,000.
Okay.
So that is a restriction that many companies used to bring out.
Okay.
But recently, where new policies came to the picture, there is nothing like that.
Okay.
So in your policy, there should nothing like that sublimits.
Sure.
So fourth point, unlimited number of restorations.
Restoration. Okay.
It plays a vital role. It plays a vital role while taking any type of policy.
What is a restoration?
Restoration means, let's take an example, Alex. We have taken a policy in the month of April. Okay. So this policy will be valid till next April.
Yes.
Right. We are taking it 25 lakh ka policy.
Okay.
We have taken a claim of 20 lakhs in the month of July.
Okay.
So from July till next April, you are left with only 5 lakh rupees. Right. Now restoration comes to the picture. And again, if you hospitalize in the month of September, October, whatever month, you will again get 25 lakhs more with no extra premium, no loading, nothing.
Okay.
And it covers same person, same illness as well. So let's take an example. In July, I have been hospitalized for cancer.
Sure.
Again, in the month of September, if I want to take a treatment for cancer itself, I may again get 25 lakhs more.
Okay. Yeah. And the premium is obviously more for...
No, nothing. It has been inbuilt feature right now.
Okay.
So we don't have
all
to pay
health
extra.
insurance policies now have restoration?
All comprehensive policies have unlimited restoration.
Yes.
So your the Pepsi in Pizza Hut is getting refilled again and again and again, to put in simple words.
Yeah.
So what happens is, if you have a recurring treatment like cancer or kidney, you can claim multiple number of times,
Right.
and you don't have a problem in treatment of critical illnesses.
So, but are there restrictions on the restoration?
No, good companies don't have any restriction on usage of restoration benefit.
Okay, so this is point number 4, 5.
Yeah.
Which one? I've
Four.
lost count.
Four.
What's next? 4. Okay, what's 5th?
Fifth one is pre and post hospitalization.
Okay.
What is meant by pre and post hospitalization? Before we get to hospitalize, in some cases, we take regular follow-ups, take medicine from the doctors and all that stuff, right? Let's take an example. I have been diagnosed with dengue.
Okay.
Doctor will not ask me ki, let's get hospitalized, right?
Sure.
He will give me antibiotics and all that stuff, ask me to eat papaya and all that stuff, right? So after let's take an example, I have taken a 7 days treatment for this.
Okay.
I have eaten papaya, I have taken antibiotics and all that stuff. After 7 days, my platelet count is reduced to 60,000.
Sure.
Now the hospitalization is mandatory, right? Even for insurance company, they are going to give me the claim. But this 6 days, I have taken doctor test, this medicine, all that stuff, that comes under pre-hospitalization.
Sure. And that is covered?
Covered, right. In most of the policy, pre-hospitalization is 60 days.
Okay.
Before hospitalization, all the expenses related to only medicine, not the papaya ka bill and all.
Okay.
Only medicine like doctor visit, doctor consultation charges.
So in another example, to very quickly elucidate this point, if you had an appendix,
Right.
and it ruptured eventually, but you had done a few tests before that to try and identify
Right.
what the cause was. If you went for a scan, the cost of that
will be
scan would be
Everything will be
included
covered. Right.
in the pre-med.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Next point.
Pre and post.
Pre and post as
Post
well.
also.
Post is also
180
covered.
days.
Okay,
Post
okay.
is 180 days.
Okay, so pre and post is covered. What's the
Yeah.
next point?
So thereafter, daycare procedure also should be covered in your policy. What is
Okay.
meant by daycare procedure?
Where there's no hospitalization.
So hospitalization will be there on that scenario as well, but the length of stay will be not more than 1 day.
Got it.
So that is meant by earlier, let's take an example. What are these diseases named as which will be covered in daycare procedure? So what are those? Cataract surgery.
Sure.
Earlier, down the line of 10 years back, this cataract will cost, you have to stay into the hospital for next 3 or 4 days, right?
Sure.
Then only your this
Eligible
surgery will be
for-
there.
yeah, correct.
right. But whereas because of modern technology and robotic surgery involved into the picture, into the hospitalization wala part, now it has been the entire duration
Procedure,
of
yeah.
hospitalization has been near about 2 or 3 hours.
Sure.
So that comes under daycare procedure, where modern treatment has been came to the picture and the entire cost has been taken out.
Okay.
So that comes under daycare
Like
procedure.
dialysis.
Dialysis.
Like chemotherapies for
Chemotherapy.
cancer.
Okay.
So these are all now covered under daycare
Okay.
procedures, and insurers pay full claim on it.
Okay. Okay. So this is important as well. It should be included in your
Right.
policy.
Right.
What else?
Yes.
Then consumable cover should be covered in your policy. What is
Okay.
meant by consumable covers? There are small items like gloves, cotton, mask, syringe. All these are not covered in your policy.
Yeah.
Whereas in surgery cost, it will cost 10 to 15% of your entire bill.
Right.
So let's take an
We
example.
saw this during COVID-19.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
So PPE kit and all that stuff. So I have seen a case where 1,35,000 was the bill amount, and companies have only settled 90,000 because the consumable were not.
Oh, that's quite significant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So consumable should also be covered in your policy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered quite a bit, which means that when you're getting all of this, ideally when you're, when you go to buy something like a car, you look for all of the wheels, you
Yeah.
look and make sure that obviously the steering wheel is there and the gears are there, etc., etc. So this is your basic checklist
Yes.
Right.
of everything that your health
Yes.
insurance policy should have.
Yes.
Okay, but if you get all of this, the thing is that the policy can be a little expensive,
Yes.
Aditya. So then from that perspective, is there any way
Yeah.
in which you can manage the
Manage
cost?
the cost.
One way is to do it in the form of a monthly payment. Is that a way to do it?
No. So all insurers have these policies. Up to 50 years, the premium is not too high. So let me tell you, for a 30-year-old, one of the top-notch comprehensives from ICICI Lombard Elevate. For a 30-year-old, for a 10 lakh cover, you will get it around 10-12,000, not more than that,
Okay.
KD. For this premium starts to surge by the time you are 50, 55, 60.
Sure.
This would, for two 60-year-old who are living in a metro city, a 10 lakh policy would cover somewhere around 30 to 50,000 to 60,000, depending on diseases that you've got.
Yeah.
Now, how do we control the premium? The biggest problem now is, how do you control the premium? How do you optimize your cover?
Yeah.
One of the options is you can put in something known as a deductible. So what
Okay.
was copay? Copay was percentage of the bill amount.
Yes.
Here, there's a flat amount that you need to pay once a year.
Right.
So that is 25,000, 50,000, 1 lakh. So I'm taking out the percentage part of it and putting in a flat amount.
Okay. So explain that in a scenario.
So
to me.
I've got 10 claims in a year.
Okay.
And the first claim, first 25,000 will have to be paid by you.
Irrespective of how you do it.
Irrespective of how you do it.
If
You
it's
do
another
cash,
policy also,
you
it's
do
okay.
another policy, you do anything. So what that does is, first 25,000 drops the premium by 18 to 25%.
Sure.
And then as you move up 50,000, 75, it drops the premium as high as 40, 45%.
Okay. And there's also the ability to get a super top up.
Yeah.
Right?
So the next point is, if you are not wanting the deductible concept, you build a base policy plus super top
Sure.
up. Super top ups are cheap to buy. Of course, they also come with some limits, some restrictions. But if somebody does not have money and is trying to optimize their cover, base plus super top up, 10 lakh base plus 90 lakh super top up is how you should be approaching the insurance part of it. Okay. Then the third point, how you can optimize is, you can look to put in room rent limit, or you can put a copay there. But that is very, very scarcely suggested, because that will then mean you end up paying from your own pocket.
Which is dicey.
Which we don't want. We want the health insurance cover to cover at least 90% of the hospital bill. 5 to 10% is okay. You can pay it out of your own pocket.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, finally, you can compromise on the quality of the insurer.
Sure.
So if it is a new insurer, or if it is a struggling insurer, they will tend to give you a lower premium. Sure. So the top insurer is very expensive. So for example, HDFC Ergo is 2x more expensive than the cheapest premium.
Okay.
Right? So But the claim settlement experience in HDFC Ergo is superb.
The dilemma always, especially for people who are trying to take care of their parents, is that beyond a certain point, we spoke about this at the start, the unaffordability aspect comes into play. And you say that, okay, if I need 15 lakhs, it's cheaper to actually build that out than to pay a premium that doesn't cover anything in any case, because you have so many pre-existing conditions that are ruled out. So that it's not doing anything. It's just money out of the pocket. So in those situations, would you say it's better to have a corpus that you build for them?
So after the age of 75, we never ask anybody to take a health insurance policy.
Okay.
Before 75, we can take a risk.
Okay.
But after 75, definitely there are no other policies that I'm going to advise anybody in the market.
Okay.
So what we can do on that scenario, we are having the Ayushman Bharat Wala scheme. We can use that. On some extent, it is okay. It is not so great, but
at least it'll give you some cover.
You will get some of the cover on that. Second thing, you can build a cover on that scenario. Recently also, I have came to the conclusion where one of my follower has been asked me ki, sir, I am having my parents at the age of 77. His parents was having diabetes, blood pressure, then cholesterol, asthma, everything. There are 4-5 diseases that his father was having. I have advised not to take any policy because after taking the policy, there are certain waiting periods that he have to survive. Eventually, at that age, the premium will be 2 lakh rupees.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will never ask anybody to pay 2 lakh for next 3 years, and after 3 years, you are going to get some of the treatment. Because the chance of survival is also very less at the age of 75, 78, right? So it is not advisable.
With so many conditions,
right. So we'll not advise on that scenario, but yes, we can build a corpus, we can save on a mutual fund wala part, and we can use that on emergency aspects.
Makes sense.
So if I may, 2 seconds, above 75, you can build a cover, corpus, saving corpus. Below 75, there's no replacement for health insurance because a corpus once used will get depleted. Health insurance keeps restoring itself year after year and month after month.
And that restoration is very important. Gentlemen, I think we've covered a lot of very important aspects. Thank you so much for joining me in studio.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure having you. And by the way, we've spoken about a very important subject today. If you've got questions, don't hesitate to write in and we will cover it either on this show or on Your Money Matters, which plays out during the week as well. So do stay tuned. Lots more coming up on NDTV Profit.